Good morning, my neighbors!
Well, good morning, you sexy mother hubbards. It's Monday and it's time for an alternative paper review. First up to the Sun. Russia hacks Brit holiday jets. Oh my God, that is terrible. So Putin is hacking British holiday flight, like 747s, like British Airways, Virgin. I mean, I suppose it makes sense. Like, I remember when me and my family were off to Thailand and they abruptly cancelled the flight when we were on our way to the airport. Never did get any compensation. But yeah, I suppose that was Putin then. Oh, right. No, that was just your airline. Right. But what about all those holidaymakers who were desperate to get a bit of autumn and winter sun last year, but it was potluck whether they could get through baggage and security or even have their bags turn up at the same destination as them? I suppose that must have been Putin too. No. Again, I think that's just the state of the industry with Brexit, a shortage of immigrant workers who would normally fill those roles. Right. Okay, I mean, I feel like we're actually in a state of play now with the airline industry, with holidays, with Britain, that actually if Vladimir Putin hacked my flight that I was on with my family, it might stand a greater chance of taking off. Unless the country that you're destined to get to is Rwanda, as is covered here on the Daily Express's front page. Stop meddling, PM tells Labour. I love this twist, this pivot in the way that this story is being reported. Like, basically what's happening is this, right? You got the Rwanda bill. There's not enough support to get it through Parliament in the way that they would like it to be. There's a lot of One Nation Tories who don't feel at ease about the bill. Plus, Sunak doesn't really have any authority. Certainly not across, like, the sort of harder right quarters of the modern Tory party, because they're all, Suella Braverman, Robert Jenrick, people like that. They don't want to support this Rwanda bill because it's not true to what they had envisaged. It's not Suella's dream, her fantasy. So now a severely weakened and limping Sunak is having to rely on Labour votes to get his dogshit policy through the Commons. So they're trying to reframe it, like, hey, stop meddling. You need to help me get this through. Like, no! This is your ridiculous policy. Meanwhile, over to the Times. Voters put police in the dock. This is a story that off the back of a recent survey, the general public, me, you, your barber, your dog's former owner's sister, everyone has the lowest level of confidence in the police that we've had in something like 30 or 40 years. People don't trust that anyone will be found and charged if they pickpocket you or they burgle your house. Also, rape and sexual assaults routinely go unprosecuted. And maybe you're thinking, oh, well, that's because they'll be too busy investigating high-level corruption and organised crime. But no, you'll be somewhat unsurprised to learn that the UK is the European capital of organised crime and money laundering. So the question remains, what are they doing exactly while all these murderers, gangsters, criminals, rapists are going free? And the answer to that is they're getting involved in it, lads. Also on the subject of police, the chief of the Metropolitan Police, that's the police service that service London, if you like, is being pushed to resign because one of his officers told a Jewish guy, don't walk through this part where the protests are happening, you are obviously openly Jewish. Like, is that where we are now? Is that honestly where we're at? Is like one clumsy, admittedly kind of, ignorant, maybe bigoted comment. One clumsy comment by one officer means the chief of the entire organisation needs to step down. Is that where we're at? I mean, by that logic, Boris Johnson should have had his parliamentary pass taken off him 3 years ahead of schedule. PM refuses to back under fire Met chief, screams the Telegraph. I mean, really what this is, right, if you want it breaking down for you, is all of the right-wing rags, they don't like the Metropolitan Police at the moment very much at all. And the reason they don't like them is because they've permitted these hate marches, right? That's what Suella Braverman calls them. That's what Robert Jenrick, Rishi Sunak style them as, hate marches. Now, the reason that they don't like the hate marches is because they're pro-peace in Gaza marches, in actual fact, aren't they? They're protests to stop bombing women, children, hospitals, innocent civilians in Gaza. And because of that, by virtue of that fact, they tend to be dominated by quote-unquote lefties. So the right-wing rags really don't like these protests because it's the lefties making a point. And so really what they want to do is embarrass the Metropolitan Police in any capacity that they can. Now, currently, that's manifesting as, look at what this one policeman said. It happened on your watch. So therefore, you should go. But let's be real, right? If the right-wing rags really cared about treatment of minorities, you know, they wouldn't spend all day trashing the idea of institutional racism, inclusivity, and diversity.
It's disgraceful how you treated this one member of this minority this one time.
I'm like, yeah, it is. It's a bit problematic. But now, can we just move the camera over here to where you guys are cheering on loading 15 of them onto this plane so you can fly them off and throw them in a foreigner's jail? I mean, it's pretty funny, really. Like, the polling for the Rwanda policy is so through the floor, and indeed the Tories, and indeed Sunak. If Vladimir Putin ever wanted to win over the British public, all he'd have to do is hack a flight to Rwanda. I mean, it's pretty darkly funny, really, isn't it? Like, I'm not saying that the Metropolitan Police are the best in the world, but I would rather trust them than the Daily Mail with regards to race protection. Like, if you're a minority in London, like, the policeman might tell you something clumsy or stupid or ignorant, but he'll do it with the best of intentions, rightly or wrongly, thinking that he is steering you away from danger. Conversely, the Daily Mail will pretend to be on your side. They'll put their arms out to comfort you. They'll gently lead you off to superficial safety, and then up onto a boardwalk, and then onto the Bibby Stockholm. And they'll do it all the while claiming to be patriotic, waving their flags, while funneling their own domestic profits out of the UK, away from the tax coffers, and into their parent company's account in Bermuda. Oh, and then they'll draw it all down in Rothermere's rumoured non-dom status current account. Hooray for Blighty. Guys, that's it for this one. Do check out the live Friday night show. That's just gone out to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It's now free for everyone to watch on YouTube. And I'll be back tomorrow with another alternative paper review. Peace.